We recently brought you the story of a missing Medicine Hat man whose body had been found in Lynx Creek in the Crowsnest Pass following a 4-day search. The man was an avid angler, and as BCN's Jeannette Rocher reports, Rajesh John had been making his mark in the sport through his very own YouTube channel, and he had his share of fans.
There you go, most fish.
Most fish, not the size.
Not the size.
A passion for fishing, a passion for vlogging. Put them together, you have Vlogger John. His friends knew him simply as John, the smiley, friendly fisherman who in the past 5 years had really developed his skills in angling.
Like, he was a sponge for knowledge.
And grew his following to over 4,500 subscribers on his YouTube channel.
He's the funniest guy. He's so spontaneous.
Just the things he would say would just make you just die. Like, it was just hilarious, some of the stuff that he would just come up with.
Rajesh John, which was his real name, had worked his way up from walleye and pike and had only recently set his sights on targeting bull trout, an elusive fish that you have to travel into the mountains and backwoods for if you want the giant ones.
And that's exactly what he was doing these last, half dozen trips. He was obsessed with getting into the backcountry, into these rare, uncharted spots where he could have chance at fishing for fish that had never been caught before.
But it all came to an end on August 3rd when a trip to the Crowsnest Pass cost him his life. The Medicine Hat husband and father told his family he was heading towards the mountains via Lethbridge on a vlogging fishing expedition. He was expected home late the next evening on August 4th, but when he didn't show, he was reported missing.
Started searching. There was quite a few of us who were very familiar with the area and very good outdoorsmen. There was not a sign of him.
Police believed Rajesh to be in the grassy lake area because it was the last place his cell phone pinged, but his fishing buddies had a hunch they knew where he was, and a manhunt for him began near Lynx Creek in the Crowsnest Pass.
I mean, we had a pretty good idea of what river he was going, and there isn't many spots for the parking to be, and he wasn't much of a hiker, so I mean, we knew he was going to be close to his vehicle.
And it turned out his friends were right. He was found underwater at the bottom of a waterfall not far from where he'd left his car.
I call them plunge pools. It's like a run of where the water will spill in maybe 5 feet down into a deep pool. They act like washer machines and they'll spin you around in them. So unless you're a very good swimmer, which John wasn't, unfortunately, they're very hard to get out of.
According to Adam Turnbull, a fellow fisherman and vlogger, Rajesh always wore his GoPro while fishing, and that day was no exception.
So they found his GoPro. There was no foul play. There was no wild animal involved. So he unfortunately hit a snag and lost his footing and fell in.
Apparently there was a backpack that someone had lost in the water from somebody else a previous day at some time, and he had hooked it with his fishing rod. And when he bent down to retrieve it is when he fell in.
Turnbull says, if anything, this has stressed the importance of using a buddy system when going out into the wilderness.
And it's just a hard lesson because you never know what's going to happen.
If you are planning on doing stuff like that, I mean, you need to let people know, whereabouts you're going. That was a big mistake on his part.
I'm catching a fish now.
Rajesh John did finally get to conquer the elusive bull trout, and his friends say he died doing exactly what he loved to do.
He was there to catch some bull trout, and as far as we know, he caught 2.
For Bridge City News, I'm Jeannette Rocher.
Rajesh John's friends have set up a GoFundMe campaign to help get his body back to India, where he will be buried. There's also a silent auction for donations that will run this weekend.